Ladies and gentlemen, a new snapshot for Minecraft Java Edition 1.13 has been released. Here's Minecraft Snapshot 17w48a. This one has custom crafting recipes and a whole boatload of fixes to things in the previous snapshots. My name is slicedlime. I'm here to take you on a tour through all of the changes in this version. But before we get to that, for the sake of completeness, there were some missing things from my previous snapshot video. Let's go through those quickly. There is now a world backup screen. You can go into your world settings and hit backup to make backups of your world. There's also a new crafting recipe for one of the new items from the previous snapshot. This is 4 log blocks turning into a log bark block, that is a block with bark on all sides of it. Now let's get to the changes in this version, starting with the changes to gameplay. Capes used to behave really weirdly when riding or when flying very quickly in creative mode. Capes should behave more reasonably in this version, and the cursor no longer moves a little bit to the right if you feed a tamed horse or llama with a golden apple, golden carrot, or a hay bale. Parrots will move their legs even if they were on your shoulder. That is no longer the case in this version. This version also has a fix for boats jittering when turning. Note blocks have been fixed in this version as well. In the previous snapshot they played the wrong sound if they had a bone block underneath, and you could still tune them when they were covered up. That is fixed in this version. Sugarcane blocks could replace blocks while growing, and that is no longer the case, and shields are now correctly aligned to the player model. The collision boxes of cauldrons and hoppers and also filled ender portal frames were slightly wrong and have been fixed in this version. This meant that it was possible for mobs to get stuck inside of cauldrons, and it was difficult to place a block on top of hoppers or cauldrons. You could also fall through end portal frames, and that is also fixed in this version. If you've had a sticky piston pushing a block a short pulse, then you could create a second piston arm on that piston. Spawn eggs, their destination was 1 block higher than they originally were, that's also fixed. And left clicking with the debug stick will now show the property for blocks, even blocks that only have one property. Pumpkin and melon stems will now break properly again if you trample the farmland that is below them. There's a new death message as well. If you die to the explosion of a bed in the Nether or the end, the death message will now say the player was killed by intentional game design. For crafting in items, there are also a whole bunch of fixes. You could not write in a new blank book and quill if you renamed it in an anvil first. Snow layers wouldn't drop themselves when harvested with a silk touch tool. And the fishing bobber would be able to go through a nether or end portal and would disappear if it did so. Flint and steel were able to place fire at invalid locations, and in the previous snapshot you were unable to place torches or redstone torches on top of jack-o'-lanterns. Banners didn't stack properly, that's fixed in this version, and the wooden pressure plates and buttons didn't group up properly in the recipe book. You couldn't place lily pads when blocks were highlighted, and dyed sheep dropped their original wool color instead of the dyed color. If you got a custom player head, the name of that item was block.minecraft.player_head_named instead of a translated string. And if you try to craft a lime or magenta banner, then you would get wool instead. The recipes for cut sandstone and chisel sandstone were reversed, and that's also fixed in this version, and pumpkin pie is now only craftable with uncarved pumpkins. There are a couple of fixes for multiplayer as well. You couldn't open shulker boxes or chests in LAN worlds, and anvil renaming only worked client-side. More work on the new command parser in this version. There were some tweaks to the suggestion user interface. Tab completion now works for coordinates again, and /execute_if now works even when used alone. And for data packs, recipes are now loaded from data packs, so you can now have custom recipes in your data packs. And this also means that if you disable the vanilla data pack, then all of the default recipes disappear. If you want to add recipes to your data pack, then put JSON files under a path that is data, your namespace, recipes, and then name.json. And finally, functions, advancements, and loot tables would load files with the wrong file type. That is fixed in this version. Remember, this is still very experimental and can crash your game or even corrupt your world, so if you want to try it, do so on a test world or on a backup of your world. If you upgrade to these snapshots, then you can no longer downgrade your world to the Minecraft 1.12 versions. Now that said, if you want to try it, head into your Minecraft launcher, go into launch options and switch on enable snapshots there. Click OK to the message and head back to the news tab, where your play button will now have a drop down and you will have a latest snapshot profile there. Start the game with this profile selected and you will be playing the latest Snapshot version, which is currently this one, 17w48a. That was all for this time. My name is slicedlime. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.